What's going on, guys? Nick here with another video. This one says, what's one habit that completely changed your mindset? I'm trying to slowly rebuild myself, one step at a time. I keep hearing that it's the simple daily habits that lead to long-term transformation. Well, you've heard right, my friend. So I wanted to ask, what's the one habit you started, no matter how small, that made a real difference in how you think or approach life? I'd love to hear real stories. Maybe it'll inspire someone else too. So the cool thing about changing your mindset is there's no one way to do it. There's a bunch of different ways that you can do this, and you just really have to find what works for you. But what it all comes down to is momentum. You hear people say, I just started very small. And that's really a major key in all of this is if you want to change your mindset, do some small thing that'll get you a quick win. So I've seen a lot of people that they'll start their day off with drinking a glass or two of water every morning, and that kickstarts their brain into thinking, all right, I'm accomplishing something. I'm getting hydrated. Some people, they'll get out of bed and as soon as they wake up, they'll get moving a little bit and they'll do 20 push-ups or something. And it's just that one thing that they can do to get a win. Now, what they're doing here is they're creating this mindset of regardless of how I feel, I'm just going to get it done. Of course, they're tired. They probably don't want to do these things, but they do it and it starts to snowball into something bigger. But if you're talking about overall, if you're talking about really changing your frame of mind, the biggest thing that I can tell you, aside from these small momentum building tricks that you can do, is changing your self-image. So your self-image is your perception of yourself. It's what you believe is possible, how you view yourself in reality. Self-image also has a lot to do with self-talk, how you talk to yourself, mentally. So let's talk about self-image for a second. So to put it very simple, self-image is something that is a reflection of how you see yourself. So, if you have goals, if you have a direction, you're pursuing that because mentally you can see yourself accomplishing it. First, it sounds like something that's interesting to you. And then two, it's something that you can mentally see yourself doing. You can see yourself being successful at it. So a big problem that stops people with, I wouldn't even say finding a goal to chase, but even getting started to have that imagination, to even get the ball rolling. So this is why I really urge people to strengthen their self-image, is because if you don't have a strong enough self-image, you're not going to be able to even start to think about a goal or to think about doing something, because mentally you can't even wrap your mind around the imagination of bettering yourself or putting yourself in a different spot in life. Just take this for example. So if you grew up in this really poor environment, and I'm not talking about financially poor, although that can be part of it, but I'm talking about you had bad influences growing up. You didn't really have anyone that had their stuff together. So you saw a lot of these people around you struggling constantly. You just never really saw success play out in some adult. So your subconscious mind, your mind that just observes what's around it and takes these things in, essentially forms this filter of your mind of how you see the world. It's very easy to start to fall into those patterns because honestly, you just don't know any other way around it. So that's why in a lot of instances, you'll see that oftentimes kids will follow what their parents did as far as a career and things like that, because it's a product of their environment. They've seen this repeated their entire lives. So naturally, their decisions and their view of what they think is possible is in line with what their parents have done. Now, obviously, if you get someone who's a little against the grain and they think with their imagination and they do have that self-image that anything is possible, then you can change this. But if you don't put the work in of crafting a self-image of, man, anything is possible. If I really want to do this, I can do it. It's going to be very hard to get out of that cycle, to break that cycle. So how do you really form the self-image? Well, a lot of it has to do with self-talk. I'm sure you probably heard of self-talk, but it is the way you talk to yourself. It's the things that you say just on a daily basis. If you've never done this, just think about how you respond to things and how you talk to people on a daily basis. Are you the type of person when someone comes at you with good news, are you the type that is encouraging to them? Or do you feel a little bit of jealousy when something goes wrong in your life and you experience an obstacle? Do you start to think of solutions and tell yourself, I can figure this out. I just need some time to work through this. Or are you one of those people that says, I suck and I'll never get through this, and you're just very negative about it and you're instantly defeated? Which one of those are you? It goes back to like the growth or the scarcity type of mindset. So if you can talk to yourself as more of a problem solver and you actually say those things like, I am a problem solver. If I run into an obstacle, it's not a matter of, man, can I figure this out? It is, when am I going to figure this out? This is how you really start to change your mindset. It changes you to the core of how you think, how you perceive things, and how you just view the world in general. So without taking this too far down the road, for this person, what's one habit that completely changed your mindset? I'd have to say it's adjusting your self-image to be the exact person that you want to be, even if it seems intimidating at first. If you can see possibilities as endless for yourself, your potential is limitless, and the way you say things on a day-to-day basis supports that, you are going to change your entire personality. You're going to change yourself to the core. So if you guys have any questions, you want to start a conversation here, you want to contribute to this one, just drop a comment below, and I'd love to start it with you guys. We'll talk soon.